All right, let's try this again. I am technically challenged, apparently. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. I don't
It's
know,
one
it
point.
froze. So
Okay.
sorry. Okay, there we go. Yes. Yes. So this one came out before. So I remember we were talking about it in
Yeah.
our other little video. But how does it feel like having it out and having, those characters in that story? I loved that story. I love Declan. Like he is like the perfect guy's guy, tortured past character. I
Hmm.
don't know if I like him as he's like on par with
Uh-huh.
oh my God, my brain is like the
Ryan, it's
thief who
okay.
stole Chris. Ryan, yes, Ryan. He's like on par with Ryan as far as like the broody, troubled hero, like wants to but doesn't want to, and he's like afraid to make that leap. You write that character so well. Those characters, you
Thank
like
you.
master them. So I really liked it. And I love Nicole. She was so just spunky and cute, like just come into her own shell in this book, like from where she started at the beginning of the book. So I really loved that. And her dynamic with her sister, that was so funny. Her sister is a hoot.
Thank you. Yeah, I love her. Writing her, she just makes me laugh.
Yeah. So what brought on the idea for this story?
So, Claire's sister, Nicole, is actually, she's been in other books that I have written. She's in my other series, a couple of other series.
Hmm.
Most recently, before this, the Fairy Godmother Agency, where she and Damien basically, like, as their side projects to their PI agency, help like one woman in desperate circumstances at a time. Um, so that kind of like, as I reached the end of that series, I was just thinking about like other situations that she could find herself in, and I thought it would be really a lot of fun if she had a sister, like a half sister she didn't know about, who was like very much her opposite, a people pleaser, which is definitely her opposite. So that was kind of like how I thought of the main premise for this series, and I really wanted them, her to be trying to set Claire up with the neighbor next door, and for him to be just this like, mountain man grump. And from there I kind of came up with Declan's story. And the airplane, originally I was going to have them meet like at an airport, and then, later learn that they would be neighbors. But then the airplane scene just came to me, and I loved how it came together.
I loved that scene. I don't want to spoil too much, but like the way that you set it up with the other passengers and like the dynamic of the three of them and so starkly contrasted in their personalities. And the old lady, I love the old lady. Like she was a hoot. She was a hoot. Um, yeah, I think that that scene was probably the most intense, quote unquote, meet cute that have read because of how you set it up. It was great. I loved it. I
Thank
loved
you.
it. So I really enjoyed the balance that you had of like the rich plot. You put a lot of plot in there, and then you gave us the side benefit of spice and the relationship between them and the tension and building it up and just all of those scenes. Like it was just perfect. I really, really enjoyed this book.
Thank you.
Of course. So we many of you knew that out there, but we have. So I do have that interview. So I thought we would do something a little bit different, ask a few different questions, and then maybe play a game of Would You Rather. Since I've already met with you before and had the pleasure of talking to you for an interview. So I was thinking of asking you for right now, what are you currently watching, like on Netflix or any new series that you're enjoying right now?
My husband and I are watching Severance, and we were watching the second season, and then we just like watched the first two seasons of Yellow Jackets very quickly.
Ooh, ooh, that's fun. fun. That's really, really fun. So, when you are watching like other series that are like the suspense and things like that, is that what kind of sparks you to go off and then write your books when you have that like mystery in the background? Was that what kind of led you on that path?
Oh, I always think that, like romance books for me is like, the core always needs to be this central relationship and how it grows and everything. But what I love about romance is that you can kind of like have any other sort of side plot in there. And I love like having a little bit of mystery or something, interesting going on for them to resolve.
Yeah.
So the mystery in this one, kind of just came to me in that like I thought it would be more fun if they didn't know exactly what had happened, and I wasn't really, when I started writing the book, totally sure how it was going to wrap that up, but as I went along, like it kind of just became clear to me.
Yeah. So did that spark like the mystery behind it? And I don't want to give anything away. That's the only downside is like I'm like I don't want to really reveal too much because then it'll ruin it. But so did it start with what happens to him, the dad, or did it start with the main plot of you wanting to have her have a sister and having it go that way?
Well, I knew that he was going to be, deceased when they met, and I knew I wanted it to be at least a little bit of a mystery in the beginning, if only because Nicole Claire's sister is a PI, so it seemed like kind of a natural like reason for them to kind of stick with each other. And
Yeah.
then it came up with also in his will, it says that they both have to stay at the house for a certain amount of time in order to inherit. I just needed a reason for her to stick around, basically, because if
Yeah.
you find yourself in this random situation.
Yeah. I liked it because, like, in most romances, it's like the forced proximity between the two, like the MMC and the FMC. And you had it not only that, but you also had it forced proximity of a sibling that's kind of kooky, and she has to like learn to like manage her like personality with her sisters and try to like figure out what's her deal. So I like that there was even that layer of mystery because they didn't have the backstory. So she has like moving pieces all the way around of like trying to figure out who's who and what's their motive and why are they really, around and involved, and then what her role is in all of these people's lives. So it just gave it that added layer of like tension and just almost comedy because of how starkly different the two of them were with their
Yeah.
personalities. So, and they also, even though they didn't know each other, you wrote it in such a way that like they clicked right away. I know, like they had each other's backs right away. I don't know if that makes sense, but like even though they're strangers, they were like, "No, you're gonna do this. You're my sister. I've got you." Like they had that like camaraderie like right away, even though they didn't have any background with the two of them.
Yeah.
So I really liked that.
Thank you. I think like Nicole is somebody who is very like a lot, very acerbic, but it's like when she decides that somebody is one of her people, she's also like the fiercest defender of them. So
Yeah, yeah. So I really liked that. I liked how she like took her under her wing and she's like, "We're not gonna." So, what are some other genres or books that you're passionate about? Like maybe something that you haven't written yet that you're looking forward to writing, or you have the ideas that you're thinking about writing? Do you have any others, or is just sticking with mainly the romance genre?
I'm not really sure yet. I mean, I'm sure someday I'll like want to venture beyond what I, writing rom-com, but I really love the humor, writing something that's a little bit lighter and just like kind of joyful. But I love writing mysteries into my my stories, obviously. So I wouldn't be opposed to trying to write like, more of a straight up mystery someday or something like that. I'm definitely open to that possibility.
Oh, that would be cool. I think you'd be good at that, like the who done it. You set it up really well because I literally did not know who the person was. I was totally like, whoa, once it happened, and then I felt like smacking myself in the face. But it was really set it up because you really don't know who it is, and there's so many options, and ways about it. So I think that would be a really, really good like segue for you to if you did want to go into a new genre, that one would be like really, really good for you.
Thank you.
Of course. So I'm going to go down my little list. And if any of you have any questions in the comments, please let me know. So with these characters, was there anything that you really struggled with writing them?
Um, Not really. Like this, it came like pretty easily. The one thing is that, like early on, I decided that sometimes when you start a book, like and you're writing in somebody's POV, you kind of tell everything right away, like they're an open book. But I
Yeah.
decided that pretty early on that I wanted Declan's secrets to remain secret for all of us, not just for Claire, like for a long time. So that was like kind of an interesting dance because I didn't want it to be like annoying, but I definitely wanted to like, keep that concealment.
Yeah, no, he was definitely guarded. He was, and it's so perfect for his character because of, he loves to grow things, and it was like seeing a rose open up, kind of,
Yeah.
with his character because he was
He's
like
like your
so
classic kind
slow
of
about
closed
it.
off grump.
Yes, yes, and he's definitely like toasty marshmallow. Like I love toasty
Yeah.
marshmallows in books. They're the greatest. So when let me go down here. So when you are writing those scenes with the two of them and you have like the tension and the banter, was there ever a moment like you were saying like where it just like spilled out? Was that scene like way earlier and then you had to like stop yourself and kind of back up and rewrite or reformulate like how you were going to lead up to him opening up?
I always knew that like it had to happen like kind of closer to the end, just because of all of the other people who are involved too. Like we have,
Mhm.
all these different, you know, threads that are weaving together. So
Yeah.
I knew it had to happen kind of close to the end. And yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think I ever had him like sharing that part before he does because it's kind of like, it's sort of a big revelation. So it
Yeah.
kind of like I don't feel like if you met somebody, no matter how much you like them, you would like immediately tell them. I mean, it's like, you definitely need to trust somebody pretty fully to get to that point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I loved their dynamic. I loved their slow burn. Will they, won't they? Like he brings her close, pushes her away, brings her close, pushes her away. I loved that like tension and then the banter between the two of them was so, so good. So, so good. So out of all of your books, what has been your favorite one that you've written?
I tend to like sort of love the one that I just finished the most. But there are things I love so much about each of them. Uh, like I really loved writing my Christmas book, The Thief Who Saved Christmas. Another one that I just really, really I love The Love Fixers. It's one of my favorites, definitely. You're So Bad is my favorite, probably from the Finding You series. It's been my most successful book too.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm working now on the first in a new series, so I'm really excited about that one. And also another Christmas book I'm planning for this year. So there's lots of.
That's great. What can you tell us anything about the new series coming out?
Yeah, it's going to be so my first series that I put out was like kind of like a brewery series. Like it was
Hmm.
surrounded one brewery. This one is like there are tons of breweries in Asheville where I live. Even after the hurricane, and COVID, like a lot of them have survived, thankfully.
Hmm.
So yeah, this new series is going to have like each of the heroines works at a different brewery, and the setup is that the main character of the first book finds out that her fiance is like has been like dating like three other women behind her back, like at one at each brewery. He's like a distributor, so he goes to each of them. He's like traveling all the time. And then they meet up and they kind of become friends and they all want to get like get even with him a little bit. but he's got this half brother he doesn't get along with at all. So she like ends up kind of like fake dating him like on a whim, and then they are actually like a perfect match for each other. So I don't know. I'm excited for that
Ooh,
one.
I love that. I'm excited for it too. I love that scorned woman and taking on and getting even. I love that. That sounds like so much fun. And the fact that they kind of all know each other after meeting each other, it's almost like a warped meet cute for for them to like run into each other and then realize that they're all dating the same person. That would be
Well,
horrible to happen in real life, but in a book, it's probably hysterical to have all of
so
their lives intersect.
what happens is that like I've already written the first few chapters. So like he leaves it, he like bought her a new phone. He's like kind of controlling, and it like looks exactly like his phone. So he takes the wrong phone, and she like knew that he always used a certain code for things. So she goes on and she's like, "Oh, it'd be so funny if I texted him on my phone from his phone," and he has this like messaging app, and there are like messages from these other women. So that's how she figures it out.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is such a good setup. Oh, I cannot wait to read that. Oh my golly, that's going to be great. So there's going to be four
Yeah,
books,
I
four books in that
usually
series.
that's kind of the has been the length I end up making all of my series for whatever reason, so I'm kind of used to
Yeah.
it.
No, that's great. Oh, that's so exciting. So what are some of the tropes that you could tell us about from that series you have for like the first one?
So and the book is called Best Served Cold. I don't have the final cover yet, but I'm working with somebody really great, so I'm excited. So the tropes are definitely revenge, fake dating. There's like it's not enemies to lovers, but they don't really think very much of each other at first, and it's ex's brother.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, those are great tropes. Those are like all my top favorites. I'm so excited to read this. I love the title. Oh my gosh, that's an
Thank you.
amazing title for that book. And when does that come out? When will we maybe see it?
It will be early summer.
Early summer. Nice. Mark your calendars, ladies. We'll have a new book to devour. Maybe it'll be right in time for my birthday in June.
Yeah,
So,
May 29th is the
oh,
date, the release date.
ooh,
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Oh, that's so great. I'm excited to have that. So, are we going to see in other series, like you were saying, you had a kind of crossover um, with Nicole? Are we going to see any more crossovers with her or any other characters from these books?
Um, uh, there might be like a little something. I'm not really planning on that for this series. I know that I will probably write something that they're in at some point. I've thought about doing the second book in the Unlucky in Love series. Nicole and Claire's friend Lainey like start the Love Fixers agency, and they like help victims of breakups and do various things like get revenge or like with whatever is needed. So I will probably at some point write like a standalone, like write a few standalones, like kind of with people who use their services, so they would be like side characters if I do that.
Oh, that would be so great. No, she's such a great character. I'm so glad we're going to see more of her. If we see more of her, because I love their dynamic. I loved her, even though she was, not fully in this story. She was the, best friend. That would be really, really cool to have more of her for sure. Because especially with her, background, that's a perfect gig for her for
Yeah.
getting back and revenge and fixing things. And oh, I love that. I definitely love that. So you're working on the designing of the cover. So I know we
Mhm.
talked about this in our other interview, but are you enjoying that process this time around with the new book?
So I'm not too deep into it yet. The designer's actually going to start early February, so I'm really excited to see what she comes up with. I've had a quick phone call with her and just given her a couple of concepts. It's going to be illustrated, and she is like amazingly good, so I'm excited.
Ooh, very nice. Very, very nice. That will be a lot of fun. I love when authors come out with their cover reveals and then they like show, so you start getting the vibe of the people that it's going to be about, and then you come out with the tropes, and then it just Just makes the hype so much more exciting once we finally get the book in our hands. All right, so let's do Would You Rather. Okay, so would you rather read from a hardback, a paperback, or an ebook?
Paperback.
Paperback. Nice. Okay, would you rather crack the spine on the paperback or ruin a hardback dust jacket?
Oh, ruin the dust jacket.
Ruin the dust jacket. Nice. Okay, would you rather have dinner with your favorite character or your favorite author?
Like the character is a real person.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have to be that. I'm sorry, fellow authors.
And then, so do you think that so you could like pick their brain as the character or like see if everything that you thought about them was how it was?
I just want them to be my best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. All right. So would you rather read a romantic suspense or a rom-com romance?
Probably rom-com.
Rom-com. All right. So if you could pick a trope, would you pick enemies to lovers or brother's best friend?
Enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers. Nice. All right. Would you rather reread your least favorite book every month or never read your favorite book again?
Reread least favorite, I guess.
Yeah. I struggled with that one. I was like, yeah, I have a really hard time with that the entire time I'm reading it.
I hope it's like a really short one.
Yeah, like a novella. It's like 100 pages, and then you don't have to read it. It'll be over fast. Okay. Would you rather have tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. Would you rather be in a crowded coffee shop or a quiet bookstore?
Quiet bookstore.
Bookstore. Nice. All right. Would you rather read the book or watch the movie first?
Read the book.
Yes, me too. I am the same way. All right. So, would you rather have a cat or a dog?
Dog.
A dog. Okay. Would you rather have a sunny day or a rainy day?
Sunny.
Sunny. Yeah. Me too. I love the rainy, cozy vibes, but I prefer the sun for sure.
Well,
That's
no, I
my
think also right now it's just like so cold.
Yes.
I very much want the sun. I don't know where you live. Wait, you
Yeah.
live in California, don't you?
I live in California, yes, but we've been
Yeah.
having freak windstorms and they've been starting fires everywhere.
Oh
So,
goodness. You're not in LA, are you?
I'm about an hour and a half south.
It's still must. I'm sure you must like get the smoke and everything, right?
Yeah, we've had a little bit of it, and then where I'm like near Temecula area.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been having a lot of like planned, like the power companies are shutting down the power because they're just not stable, and so that's been like sparking fires. So they've been just like randomly shutting off our power without like hardly any notice.
It's
And
really
I've had
scary
some.
too.
One of my
Sorry.
son's RVTs actually was without power for like 8 days.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
how the heck people are living without power for that long? It's just crazy to me. And it's like the fact that they can even do that is just insane. So definitely good vibes and prayers to everybody out
Yeah.
there dealing with the weather because it's crazy for sure. It's definitely been crazy. Okay. Would you rather spend a day on a beach or would you rather go skiing in the mountains?
Beach.
Beach. Nice. Nice. All right, let's see. Does anyone else out there have a would you rather question or a question you'd like to ask her? We have a couple of people. We have Sam Reed 34. Hi. I'm trying to see if anyone asked a question. Bookishly Mindy says she can't wait for the new series and the breweries and the new book boyfriends. Yes, the book boyfriends. I'm all about the new ones for sure. And then Nerdy Babes PA Services says, hey ladies, love me some Angela Casella books. Yes, we all do. Definitely love that. All right, let's see. Okay. I'm going to go back over to my questions because it doesn't look like anyone has any that they want to ask for right now. So with this book, what was like the main message that you wanted people to take away from it?
I think like ultimately it's kind of like about found family, especially. Um, and I would say like I guess in each of the books in this series, like I guess there's like a little bit of some of the characters are definitely a little bit morally gray, but it's like I guess kind of they're still ultimately like pretty good people, all of them, I think.
Mhm.
So I guess that's just something I kind of played around with a little bit in this series that you could I don't know, like there are like different things you can do things that you're not proud of and still ultimately like be redeemable, and especially like and when you find your people, and I think that all of them like are just being together, they're stronger than if they were by themselves, especially for Declan, like being by himself was like for him the worst thing, even though he thought it was what he deserved.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then everybody in the series, well, yeah, everyone in there. I mean, we don't see too much, I mean, because you have them in other stories, but everybody had, like character flaws or things that would maybe put somebody off in a way and make it a little bit harder for them to be approached or approachable. And they all still were able to come together and weave a camaraderie together and complement each other and push each other to be better, especially the sisters. I feel
Mhm.
like she definitely, Nicole needed that um, in her way to like have that full circle of, she was left as a child and she was able to come and like be there for her younger sister. And then Claire really was not fully stepping out of her shell and like owning how great she was. And she was just kind of, like you said, a people pleaser, letting like just doing everything for everybody else and not really living for her. I think it was so telling in the bonfire scene with the two of them and how her mind was working as she was burning the photos for that scene.
That was like my favorite scene for this book, I think for like every book we write, we all probably have like a favorite scene. That was oh, I like the plane scene too. Those were my two favorite scenes.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. I loved it. It just kept reminding me of that. Oh, what was I can't remember the book. I mean, the movie, it was with Sandra Bullock, and they're like dancing the bonfire. And like, it just reminded me of that so much with them dancing and just like owning their, feelings and then this burning their feelings and burning the past and moving forward. And I really loved that scene. And then how they ended it with just, being together and being supportive of one another. And she was just like such a great big sister. And then seeing her open up and just realizing that, crap, I've been holding back all this time and for what? So I
Mhm.
really liked that epiphany moment that she had. And then everything after that. Like it was great. It was just such a cute uh romantic suspense. I just loved it. I just loved this book. It was so good. So let me go back up here. So with these characters, did you have any of them that were like screaming at you as you're writing them, and then other ones that you kind of had to like coax forward?
Um, I actually felt like this one sometimes it's like more of a struggle. This book like kind of came to me pretty easily. I think because I had been thinking about it for a while by the time I wrote it. When I finished my Fairy Godmother Agency series, which was the other series that Nicole and Damien played a pretty big part in, I had Nicole and Damien like go away at the end, and I knew that where they had gone was because she had just found out, that she had a sister and she'd found out about her father. So I knew like that was how this series was going to start. But I actually wrote a whole other series before I got there, because I, had set up this other spin-off series, which was really just about a group of male friends. And so, yeah, I wrote their stories first, and then I moved over here.
And you came back, yeah.
So
Did you
by
feel
the
like,
time I wrote it, I'd been thinking about it for like over a year, so I was like really ready to like get it down.
yeah, so it gave you like that space and then you really had a way of like mind mapping it so that when it
Yeah,
came down to it, it was
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. So in this way, this one was more like a pantser type book for you, even though you were
They,
thinking about it.
I mean, they all kind of are in a way. Like I always have like a general, like a very general outline of like where I think it's going to go and like what I think is going to happen. And
Hmm.
it comes becomes much more clear to me as I'm writing. Like I don't know. I get ideas as I go along because I think like because I was a developmental editor for many years, so I'm used to like kind of jumping off of scaffolding like okay, this is this idea. What do I do now? How do I make that better or stronger? And it just becomes easier as I'm writing.
Yeah, no, that's really, really great. I love that. It's always interesting how the mind of a writer works. Like when you have an idea and then it just sparks this whole world building, this whole storyline, and then it's like they're in living color and it's like you're watching a movie. That's what I feel like when I read this book. Like I felt like it was like a movie because of the dynamics and then how you set it up and just the whole thing. Like it just played like a movie. So I really enjoyed that. I love when books do that, where you can feel fully like you are alive and living amongst all the characters and experiencing everything as they're experiencing it. And it's so relatable and real. So I love that about books. So that definitely, if you are wanting a book that is like that, pick up this book because that was the vibes and the reactions that I had from reading it.
Thank you.
All right. Of course. So are there any books that you're currently reading right now that you're enjoying?
I just started. Geez, I can't even remember what it's called. I like listen to a lot of audiobooks and I like kind of across the board in terms of genre. Right now I'm listening to like a book by the Jason Pargren, I think his name is. He's the author of John Dies at the End, so it's like his new standalone like thriller comedy.
Yeah.
He's just
So do you
hilarious.
enjoy,
I love laughing.
I actually haven't read his, so his are like thriller, but with like the like comic relief throughout.
Like really, really funny, like a little bit like Douglas Adams, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. His other series, anyway, they're like science fiction. This one I'm sure has some sort of science fiction like angle to it, but they're just like very, very funny, like witty.
Yeah. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard of him, so that will be a new author for me. Um, so I asked you this in my interview, but I can ask it again because I love asking this question, and it might change as you're going along with your writing journey. What do you feel makes a great story?
Um, I love like for me it's all about the characters, but also like seeing some kind of growth or change in them as they go through whatever experience the book is about. Because I feel like if we could connect to people, it makes such a difference in our the depth of the story.
Mhm.
Even no matter how good the plot is, I feel like you really need to kind of care about the characters you're reading about. Even if like there are some books that do not have likable characters, but they're like so engrossing, and it's just because you have some sort of emotional reaction to them because they are made to feel real to you, and I think that's the most important part
Yeah,
of any book.
yeah, yeah. I would agree with that for sure. So out of this cast of characters, because it's like asking your favorite child, but out of just this book, who has been your most favorite character to write?
This book,
Hmm.
particularly of the series, whew, I mean, it's like it's always kind of Nicole, but actually for this one, I really love like the my favorite to write was actually the Nicole Claire dynamic. Even though like I love like all the scenes, of course, with Declan and Claire, and I think they're perfect together. But like I think what really one of the main things that changes Claire is having that dynamic with her sister. So I just loved writing those scenes. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah. Was there any characters that you struggled with within this series, within this story?
No, not really. Like Mrs. Rosings, when I first came up with her for that plane scene, she was just like a random person. And I'm like, I love her way too much to only have her in this one scene. So she actually became a vital character, not just for this book, but for like the entire series. So
I I
she was not
love
originally
her.
like I did not really have plans for her immediately. It was just more like she kind of developed and I was like, oh, she's so much fun.
She was a hoot, especially like the scene, like her bracelet. Like I was like, I've heard of flasks and I've heard of different things, and then it was like it's a bracelet, and I had to like go look it up because I'm like, that is so cool. I want like such a cool old lady. I want to be like her when I'm older and have this like she's like looking her nose down at everybody, but then on the other side she has this like bracelet. On the plane, that part was so funny. And just her looking at the in-flight magazine, like I that's what I'm saying. That whole scene was just perfect. Like I could totally see that being on the big screen or being on like, a Netflix original and just these three like totally opposite people in this like potentially life-threatening situation. And then they're just dynamics between the three of them and her, looking down on the two of them and her commentary through that whole scene was just hilarious. It was just great. And then I loved that you kept her in there and it was such a like coincidence. Who would have thought like all of these people coming together and having, this commonality or common person that they know and then having it bloom from there. It was great. It was great. I love that scene. I agree with you. That was a good scene. Um, so what was your favorite back and forth? Do you think you said it was more of Nicole and Claire than necessarily the banter back and forth with Claire and Declan?
I mean, I really love that too. I love both dynamics because they're different too. I mean, Declan is like he tries to be so closed off, but I think there's just something. Claire's just like such a sunshine personality. Like that like he can't help himself but be like charmed by her. And I love that. But I think like why I really love the Claire and Nicole dynamic is because that was kind of the seed for the whole book
Hmm.
too, and then thus the whole series was that idea, and it was just fun to bring it into reality.
Yeah. So what is your favorite type of scene in this book when you were writing it? Because I know we talked about it and the last time with the other book, but since it's kind of different, did you have a particular type of scene that you really enjoyed writing?
Um, like a type of scene.
Well, like, was it more of like the suspenseful moments or more
Oh,
of
okay.
like the silly moments? So we don't spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read it yet. Was there any scenes there where you were really like, I really love this. This is my favorite in this book around this time around.
So yeah, like I said, probably the airplane, and then also like the whole bonfire scene, like before the bonfire, the actual like bonfire, and then when they're sitting around afterwards, like all of them are kind of drunk. Like that was really
Yeah.
fun too.
Yeah. And I actually liked the scene leading up to the bonfire, like the emotional moments
Mhm.
in the scenes coming up to that, because you didn't expect it. Like I didn't expect it. Because I'm thinking, the dad is just a player, not really hasn't been there, and then they find all this stuff. And so I really liked that lead up to it. And even though, I feel like, well, she'd had him till she was, a child. So, having that, they didn't have that connection, the dynamic, but they were still able to like appreciate it and then let it go in that
Yeah.
scene. Like, I just loved that. I felt like that was such a cathartic moment for both of them to, feel it, be in it, and then have something positive at the end of that. I feel like that was like a full cycle of like trauma healing for the both of them in that scene. So is that did that feel like is that what you felt like when you were writing that scene?
Yeah, I mean, like all of us, when you're to a certain age, all of us have lost someone who's important to us. So I think like grief is such an important part of life, and learning to process that and learn from it and grow from it is just such an important part of life. I mean, I know like this is my books all have like kind of a lighter tone, but I feel like, there's still these universal things that we all go through that are just important to explore in fiction, because it kind of helps us like process our own feelings about things in a way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's for sure.
there's like this line that I had Nicole say too, like while they were looking at their stuff, that I was like, this is like my favorite line. I don't want to spoil anything either, but like I was just like I think she had like an interesting perspective on it too, where she's like, he like I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
go
No,
too far into
no,
it,
I know
but
what you're talking
yeah.
about. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree. I
love
definitely agree. I definitely agree. That part was great. Like just that whole, because I could feel like that could really be like, you know how you read some books where it's very fantastical and it's like so out of the realm of reality that there's like not really a way to relate to it. And those are great books like to read if you just want to like not think about things and you just want to enjoy the moment of just, reading. But when you have those books where you're like could totally relate to it and connect with the characters, like that is just my favorite way of reading because then you don't feel alone and you feel like
Mhm.
connected, especially for people if they're going through like a hard time and they're also looking to escape that, but also having that like moment of, I guess, understanding, even though they're not real characters, but you get that understanding and you get that like camaraderie that you're not alone.
Mhm.
I felt that for sure in this book with them and how you handled like the grief and you know, the missed opportunities that they could have had if they knew each other younger, but they didn't let that hold them back. Because I'm sure that that's, everybody, every single one of us could have like a list of things that we were like, dang, I wish I would have done this, or what if I had had this? And then to realize, yeah, well, that could have been, but look at what you have here, and to like appreciate it and make the most of it. And I feel like they definitely did that rather quickly and fully embraced it in the story between the two of them, given all the circumstances that were around why they were there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. So out of these characters, who do you feel is most like you out of this book?
Um, I would say like I'd have to be probably Claire, but with a little bit of Nicole. Like there's definitely probably more Nicole would be more of my internal monologue than how I would actually relate to the world.
Your inner voice coming
Yeah.
out, and then Claire's kind of like your what you show the public in a
Yeah.
subdued
Definitely
subdued
too
manner.
introverted to be full Nicole.
Yeah. I loved her. She was a hoot. Like just the stuff that came out of her mouth. There was just so many moments where I just like busted out laughing because I'm like, she really just said that. They really just did that. But it made her, and I loved the spin-off of each of their personalities because of that. Like how they, you know, like we talked about earlier, how they like bantered back and forth and just they're almost complimenting each other in the way that they behaved in the presence that each of them brought for sisters. It was just
Yeah.
cute. It was really, really cute. Um, so for this scene, were there any, or for this book, were there any scenes that you really struggled with?
Not struggled with, but like, as I was like at the deciding like also I had I decided I don't know how far I was when I like came up with the final outcome, but
Mhm.
like writing those final scenes, like getting the tone right and like I think I like added some like I originally didn't have like the Declan point of view in there, and I'm like, okay, well, I need him to react to this for the emotional arc, and so yeah, like finishing is always like hard to like make sure you hit all the right notes with the ending, especially when you have like a little bit of suspense in there or mystery.
Yeah.
So like definitely like that was I wanted to get right.
Yeah, and like tying up all the loose ends
Mhm.
as best as you can and making sure it all like flows. Yeah, be a that would be, I feel like, a daunting task to like make sure everything is ready to go when you write the end. So that was probably
Yeah.
like a really big celebration moment. So how did celebrate that milestone of finishing this book?
People always ask me this question, and I like seriously don't really do anything when I finish a book,
Really?
except for like start the next one immediately. I think it's just like I love like being in these other worlds so much that it's like I always kind of need to be like writing something, and if I'm not, it feels like wrong.
Yeah.
And I do celebrate in my own way. Like I might buy something like special for dinner or something like that. But like usually I don't like have any. I should start something. I really
You
should like
should,
have a
because it's such an accomplishment.
yeah.
Like, especially because like you're doing all of that. You're putting all this time and effort into it, and then you're going through all of the edits, and then you're going through, with that person making the cover and doing all the artwork and then getting it, published and out there, and then you have to be the person on the other end that's, promoting it. That's a big, huge job that you do with every single one of your books, and it's just astounding. So you definitely need
Thank
to
you.
do something. Pat yourself on the back, have a little party, do something to like celebrate you and the big accomplishments that you make every time you publish something.
Yeah, and I just finished the series too. So maybe for this like
Yeah.
last one, I should do something fun. You're right.
Yeah, you should totally do that. I definitely think you should. So, has there been a favorite comment or interaction that you've had recently with a reader reaching out to you?
Basically, like, like anytime I like sometimes in my newsletter, I'll like ask people questions or I'll have a giveaway or something. And when people respond, I've had a couple of people respond and just say like, "Oh, I've read all of your books," or "I've read like listened to all of the audiobooks," and I'm always kind of like astounded when it's like somebody I've never heard their name before, or seen them in the reader groups or anything because intellectually, I know there are like lots of people out there who have read my books, but it always surprises me, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. That's
And
gotta be a great feeling though.
yeah, it's very humbling. And then I was at a reader a convention like this past summer, and one of my readers came to see me, and she had made me this beautiful like shadow box like with little copies of my like books inside of it. It was amazing. Like it's amazing. I was like so touched. Obviously, it's up on my wall, not in my office, but
Oh,
downstairs.
I love that. How sweet is that? Oh, oh, that's cool. Oh, kudos to them. That's so great. That's probably a very big moment of feeling proud and like, yeah,
Like very touched.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. So do you have any signings you're going to be attending that we can see you in the coming year?
I went to three last summer, and I think I just wanted to take things a little more slowly this year, and take a little more travel with family over the summer. So I'm not actually doing anything this year. I think I'm going to SAS next year and in Richmond, and I hope to go to Knoxville again. I'm not going to be able to go this summer because it was the weekend that we're going on vacation, but maybe next year.
Ooh, nice. That'll be nice. So we have something to look forward to. And going on a trip is always fun. Um,
Yeah.
for definitely. So out of your books, is there a book that like constantly where the characters kind of live with you, like or like commentary, as you're going through your day, like they'll pop up into your mind?
Honestly, again, it's like usually what I'm working on or what I'm planning next. Like right now, I'm working on one book, and then I also like am sort of plotting another. So it's like those people like I'm thinking of a lot. I'd say of the people that I've written, the ones who like stay with me the most, like Nicole for sure. She's been in a lot of my books, and I just love her. There's a character from a couple of my early series, like Asheville Brewing and Bad Luck Club, and she owns a tea shop, and I think she's going to be like a side character in the new series, and I readers like really loved her, so I'm excited to like have her play a part. I'm not sure how large it will be yet, but she's just like I love having some older characters around, like in all of my books, because they can be a source of such wisdom, and they can also be like really funny and interfering sometimes in the best possible ways, sometimes in not so great ways.
Yeah, the
So
meddling
yeah,
characters.
yeah. So like yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be good. I love when authors do that because one, it keeps the other books that you didn't want to say goodbye to alive,
Mhm.
and then it just makes it feel like it's more real for sure to have them pop in here and there, and then you're like, oh, they're back. Oh, I can see them still. They're not gone. So I like that.
I have
Um,
like a
so
shared universe with myself. Like they all take
yeah,
place in the same universe.
yeah, I love that. I love when authors do that. And they have, the threads all connecting, and it's probably an art form to do that, like to remember that and to like lay it out and map it out. And you're like so creative in the way of like you did with Nicole. Like you have her over here in these series and you want to have it, this other line, and you created this whole other plot thread of her life and wove it in such a great way, and then you keep her going. So it's great. The way your mind works is amazing. So I love that.
Thank you.
So where can readers most easily connect with you? Is that with your newsletter or on Instagram?
Yeah, the new my newsletter, and you can like just go to my website is angelacasella.com. And yeah, like that's like probably the most reliable way. I'm on Instagram too, obviously, since people are on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my newsletter's in my link tree too.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's where I originally found you to sign
Mhm.
up for it. Um, so let's see. Is there any other events or exciting things, not necessarily events, because I know you're taking this year off, but exciting things that we can expect this year from you that you're allowed to talk?
Yeah, I can't like I can't give away any details yet, but I'm yeah, involved in like a fun Christmas project
Ooh,
that will be coming out like later this year.
ooh, that's fun. I love that. I loved your Christmas book. I actually
Thank
bought
you.
it and for my shelf, and I got it, and I love the little saying you wrote in there, so thank you. But I'm excited to see more of those books from
I
you
also
because it was so cute. It was
think
just,
I just sent you one of these too, which is the special edition for the Love Fixers. And my husband asked me to tell everybody that he sprayed the edges for me, which was very kind.
that's so cool. I've always wanted to do that, but I'm so scared I'll like ruin a book in doing that. The fact that he can do that, kudos to him. That is so cool.
I know it was a little easier than I feared it would. I mean, it was I don't know, it was a little easier than I thought it would be, and he's doing a lot of them at once too, so it's like very impressive he figured out a way to.
Yeah. So are you gonna go forward and kind of doing that extra touch for like special books, or are you having plans to do
Yeah.
anything like that going forward?
Like I might, it's kind of nice. It's kind of fun to do the special edition. I might do it for like certain books, like first in series, or for my Finding You series, the second book was actually the one that has been like my best-selling book of all time. So I might do one for that, like at a certain point, like maybe, like the 5 years in publication, or maybe just to do like a special like little treat for that series. I don't know.
Oh, that would be great. That would be so great. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that was happening. I'm so excited. I'm gonna get it. Oh, yay. I know I keep saying it, but I just really loved the story. It was so good. I love one of my favorite genres is romantic suspense. I love rom-coms, but I don't know, there's just something probably because of my mom and I used to watch like Agatha Christie and Poirot and all of like the murder mysteries and like Masterpiece Theater. So it's just like ingrained in me that that's like always my go-to in a story because I just love the whodunit side of stories and then like adding in all of the characters and then you're trying to figure it out so it like makes your brain work, trying
Yeah.
to
So
decipher.
each of the books in this series is like, I still consider them like rom-coms, but they're like each have like a little bit of a mystery or suspense angle to it. Like the next one is, like a necklace is stolen and they need to figure out who did it. And the one after that, somebody is, there's like a kind of there's like a threat and they need to figure out who's behind it. Like each
Yeah.
of them has like a sort of a little mystery to figure out.
I love that. I love it. So definitely check this one out for sure if you like romantic suspense and you like witty banter and sisterly um meet cutes and then just them kind of their dynamic and banter across from one another. That is what you will find in this story for sure. Let me see. Does anyone have any questions? I forgot to ask that. I've been trying to ask that every now and again, just in case someone that's on would like to ask a question. But if not, do you have a favorite band or artist that you've been listening to when you're writing?
I actually do not listen to anything when I'm writing. I'm one of those like no sound people.
So do you put like noise canceling headphones on, or just as long as there's not any like normal
So
ambient sound, like
sometimes I put them on and I don't even turn on the noise canceling because it kind of muffles a little bit. I'm actually on the spectrum like Annabelle in my Christmas book. So I am a little like weirdly noise sensitive. But yeah, like as for music I've been listening to, my daughter is like an avid Taylor Swift fan. In fact, like this is my sweater. It says I'm in my Swiftie era.
I love.
And she listens to just like constant Taylor Swift. So I do as well.
Oh, that is so funny. My son, who is also on the spectrum, he loves Shake It Out. He will shake it off, shake it off. I said it wrong. Shake it off. He will listen to that on repeat, like it's his favorite. So he's totally a Swiftie too. That's so cute. I love that. Uh, All right. So I know we talked about on our interview your favorite drink and snack, but we can go a little bit deeper. So what is your favorite meal that you like?
Um, oof. I feel like it changes all the time. Like I mean, there are different things that I like. I really love really good Mexican food, like tacos.
Yeah.
And especially margaritas. Like a good margarita is like the best thing in the world.
Yes, that's awesome. Is there anything that you're looking forward to as far as a show or your trip? You're going on a family trip, so that's probably something you're looking forward to
Yeah.
that you're kind of like using to propel you forward maybe with your writing. Like if you're having a harder day, maybe with writing, is there anything that you're like using to like motivate you if you get stuck?
Um, I don't know. Like I don't really like think like that, I guess. But I also have not made the preparations for this trip yet. We have like narrowed down like that we were thinking of going to Maine, but we're not going until August. So definitely have to like actually make some preparations. This year I'm very proud of myself because like I have my daughter's summer like almost all accounted for. I signed her up for camp very early this year, so I don't have to like worry at the last minute. Like last year I was scrambling.
Oh, that's Awesome. So yeah, so she can go and you can work on your writing while she's off
Yeah, and I
having
mean it's
fun.
just like good for her to she's autistic because she's an extrovert, which I am like neither my husband nor I are like remotely extroverted, but our daughter is like a little extrovert. So she like definitely needs like that outlet of being around other kids and especially like the camp that she's going to be going to is where she goes to after school now and
Mhm.
like her best little friend is going to go to this camp too. So I'm like done.
That'll be great. That'll be so much fun. That will be really, really great. So when you're going on your trip, do you feel like you're going to be using it possibly as a destination for a future book? Are you in
So yeah,
that
actually
area?
I am going to be setting a book there, so it's like that's part of the reason like to get like a little extra color to add in and yeah,
Ooh, exciting. I've actually never been there. I want to go. So
me
we'll definitely
neither.
have to share your travel, like a picture here and there of what it's like,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to read it in the book. So that's really exciting. So definitely, thank you so much for joining me today and doing this live. It was such an honor to read that book, and thank you so much for sending me the book. I'm so excited to get it.
Welcome.
Thank you. So if you have not read it, definitely add it to your TBR. It's not only hysterical with all of the funny moments in it, but it is just a really perfect romantic suspense, and you will fall for Declan. He's like chef's kiss for a perfect book boyfriend, and we always love the perfect book boyfriends. But I am excited to see your new series, and it sounds phenomenal. So definitely sign up for her newsletter in her bio so you can get all the details on when that one comes out, and you can fangirl with me because I totally will be fangirling when I read that series. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on with me today. It was great.
Thank you. It's always great to talk to you.
It is. I just think you're amazing and celebrate yourself. Like that is my like call to action for you. That is my little push like Nicole would do. Celebrate you, celebrate your milestones and celebrate how, great you are and all of the positive and wonderful things you bring to people get to read your stories because you do. You bring them a little bit of light, a little bit of sunshine, laughter, and then make them think trying to figure out who done it until they get to the end of the book. So definitely celebrate you.
I appreciate that. I'm going to. I'll do something.
Yes, do something. Just acknowledge it and have a little party.
Yeah.
It'll be great. Well, thank you everybody out there for joining me today on my first ever live. Hopefully, I will see you next time as we get another look behind the book, and I will see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.